In this video, we are going to compare Assetto Corsa Rally with real-world footage. Hello and welcome everyone. Assetto Corsa Rally is out in the early access version and it is simply awesome. I know, a lot of YouTubers have already reviewed the game and given their subjective opinion on brakes, force feedback, and the level of realism there is or there isn't, with some people actually claiming it to be hyper-realistic. Supernova Games, the developers of Assetto Corsa Rally, say that they actually laser scanned real-world rally stages before rebuilding them in the game. So, what about if we just drive one stage, compare to the footage from the reality, and then make a quick video? Sounded like a smart idea, but wasn't. So in order to do this, I needed to do quite some research. The early access version of Assetto Corsa Rally has only 4 stages by now, 2 asphalt stages and 2 gravel stages, and I decided to go for the 2 gravel stages. But where are these stages actually held? This brings us to Wales. Unfortunately, the last time the WRC visited Wales was back in 2019. By searching through some maps and archives, I managed to find out that in the game, the stage Havre North Full Forward was part of special stage 13 and 15 of that event. The only Rally 2 car the game currently holds is the Hyundai i20 from 2021. That's actually 2 years after the Rally GB was done, so the car actually never ran there in the WRC event. But considering the regulations for Rally 2 cars pretty much stayed the same during this time, it is probably like comparing the current Red Bull F1 car against the current McLaren F1 car. At least that's what I hoped. Anyway, it's our best guess. So I choose the Hyundai i20 in the game. The onboard footage in which the camera position matches best with the camera position in Assetto Corsa Rally is that of Skoda driver Jan Kopecky. At the Rally Wales in 2019, in WRC2, Jan Kopecky showed good pace on Friday, but on Saturday had a puncture in stage 12, so just before stage 13, which we are going to look at in a moment. And that puncture meant he was passed by his then 19-year-old teammate, a guy called Kalle Rovanperä, who you all probably know by now. Anyway, for special stage 13, he seemed to be back on his feet, as he drove the third fastest time of all the Rally 2 cars and also commented positively on his run after the stage. I also had a look of his footage of special stage 15, but unfortunately he rolled the car there. Then I had a longer look at the footage itself and adapted the conditions in the game. They probably run in the morning after the Rally 1 cars. As you can see, it's clearly a foggy day and the road had some moisture but was not completely wet. However, after some test runs in the game, it became clear that with the baseline setup of the Hyundai, which I didn't want to change, and Jan Kopecky being an absolute rally pro and very fast, I would be best off with the grip levels set to optimal and the moisture set to 0%. In terms of in-game settings, all driving aids were switched off and I chose the hardcore mode. And off I went. The footage you see is a complete run of mine without any cuts, basically me flat out through the whole stage to the best of my ability. That said, I'm at no point lifting in order to have better overlay with the footage. So let's take a look at the comparison. In a few seconds, these two cars will be on the same piece of road. There will be a junction coming up and the car from the game is going to come from the left side and the car from the reality is going to join the junction from the right side. Now, coming into the sections, the speeds are roughly the same, around 150 kilometers per hour. Overall, we can see straight away that the path of the road is very similar to the reality, but that the surroundings look a little bit different. I think that they have made it easier in the game than it is in reality. Also the surrounding trees are less thick and further away from the road, which makes it easier to look ahead in the game. In this section now I lose a lot of time, which is why I'm behind. But it fits with what the speedometer says, so on average I would say I'm 20 to 30 kilometers per hour slower than Jan Kopetzky was back then, and that's why I'm falling behind. I think in this section the developers have done a great job in the game. Even the little signs and cues on the side of the road are in the same areas as they were in the reality. And bear in mind, we are now comparing footage from 2019 to a game that was developed in 2025, perhaps 2024. So there's 6 years between the two videos. Now, coming into this section, Jan Kopetzky and I are pretty much even, but now on this upcoming right-hander, I don't flick the car as much around as Jan Kopetzky did. So I lose, I would say, about half a second here. So that's basically down to my driving style rather than the game itself. Comparing these two sections to each other, we find again that the two roads are pretty much the same. The ditches and the surroundings are there, but sometimes some of the banks on the outside of the corners, also sometimes on the inside, are missing. But keep in mind the videos from 2019, and I saw videos from other years where a lot of the trees are cut down, so this place changes quite a lot over the years. Also, I'm running the game in the lowest possible graphic settings, and this takes away the high grass on the sides and some of the trees. So this is also another reason for the visual differences in the two videos. Coming into this corner, I brake a little bit too late, but because the next corner is a right-hander and flat on the inside, I can cut the corner and get away with it. Now looking again at this section, the speeds and the paths are pretty much the same. I'm fully flat out, and I guess Jan Kopetzky was as well, which is crazy if you think about it. We are probably by now for 3 minutes on the same piece of road, and there's not much between the two cars. Even the logs on the left side are at exactly the same place, and also now the logs inside are pretty much there. I go a little bit wide here and lose a little bit of time. It just shows that in this case the differences between the two drivers are probably bigger than the differences between the game and the reality. So I'm a little bit up by now in this section, although I lose some time here, but I'm maybe like half a second ahead, I would say. Now up the hill we are again pretty even, but now we get into this downhill section, and I tried it a couple of times and it's just so bumpy. I don't feel confident going in here any faster. Also, I reviewed the footage a couple of times, and I think the actual length of the road in the game is just longer than it is in reality. In terms of speeds, I'm going way faster compared to what's shown in Jan Kopetzky's video, yet I'm still behind. And I don't know how they've tracked the speeds back then, but probably only through GPS. So a possible explanation would be that maybe the speed signal was distracted by the dense trees and the elevation change at the same time, and therefore is not being properly shown in the video. I know, I'm being very picky here. Yes, the banks and the ditches and trees are a little bit different, but overall, I'm very impressed with what Supernova Games have done because there are so many variables already in the car itself, like tires, gearbox, engine, and then the road and the environment on top. And I just chose randomly one car and one piece of road and went flat out, and straight away, it's a pretty good match. Generally speaking, trying this stage, trying Assetto Corsa Rally in general in the past days, and then comparing it to videos from the reality in more detail, it really made me appreciate the performance that the rally drivers are putting in every stage on these events. I can't wait for more content to be released. Especially, I'm looking forward to the extension of this stage because it has some really exciting sections. So I hope that this video gave you a good first overview. Make sure to stay tuned for more and see you next time.